Today, President Biden is expected to call on Congress to suspend federal gasoline and diesel taxes for 3 months. Right now, there is an 18.4-cent tax per gallon on gas. That's federal tax. There's also a 24.4-cent gallon tax on diesel fuel. If the savings are passed, people would save roughly 3.6% at the pump. Gas taxes make up a substantial source of revenue for the Highway Trust Fund.
First, today I'm calling on Congress to suspend the federal gas tax for the next 90 days through the busy summer season, busy travel season. Here's what that means. Every time you go to the gas station to fill your tank, the federal government charges an 18-cent tax per gallon of gas that you purchase and a 24-cent tax per gallon of diesel you purchase. It's a tax that's been around for 90 years.
But for us to suggest that 30 cents a day for 3 months is real relief, that's a real energy policy, means that we are not tackling the problem that has to be tackled. We are offering gimmicks. That means we're not presenting a truthful response to the challenges that we face in America. We can do better.
By suspending the 18-cent gas tax, federal gas tax, for the next 90 days, we can bring down the price of gas and give families just a little bit of relief.
We are offering gimmicks.
We can bring down the price of gas and give families just a little bit of relief. I call on the companies to pass this along, every penny of this 18-cent reduction to the consumers. There's no time.
Obama's been very strong in saying this whole idea of a gas tax holiday is a bad one. He's calling it a gimmick and a Washington con game.
But then it's an 18-cent tax per gallon of gas.
Right.
So if I got a 15 or 20-gallon tank of gas, I'm not going to save all that much money.
No, I think we have the math here. If you've got a 15-gallon tank, you're going to save upwards of $3 every time you fill up.
Gas and give families just a little bit of relief.
Economists I spoke to, and I spoke to 5 economists and experts all over the country, they say Obama is essentially right on this one. You wouldn't even get a $3 saving, most likely, because you would be, it's the law of supply and demand. When you cut the gas tax, more people want gas, they go out and buy more gas, that drives the price up, so it's likely you wouldn't even see $3.
Now, I fully understand that a gas tax holiday alone is not going to fix the problem, but it will provide families some immediate relief, just a little bit of breathing room as we continue working to bring down prices for the long haul.
You wouldn't even get a $3 saving, most likely.
About the so-called gas tax holiday. At best, this is a plan that would save you pennies a day for the summer months.
Gas and give families just a little bit of relief.
Just this morning, there was an article in the paper about how the real beneficiaries of this tax holiday would be the oil companies who would walk away with billions more in profits.
Last week, I sent a letter to the CEOs of the largest oil refining companies asking them to work with my administration to bring refineries back online to get more gas to the pump at lower prices.
Over the medium term, this is very important. The president's policy has always been a transition to clean energy. And that means building on the strengths of our energy system.
Given how inflation has escalated over the past 18 months, would you say that the war in Ukraine is the primary driver of inflation in America?
No, inflation was high before, certainly before the war in Ukraine broke out.
Putin invaded Ukraine. Putin invaded Ukraine with 100,000 forces. Just look at the facts. Since the start of the war in Ukraine this year, gas prices have risen by almost $2 a gallon in the United States.
Of economists. I want to put up a chart of inflation here for our audience to see, measured by the Consumer Price Index. So from the beginning of the pandemic through now, and as you can see, the tick up began a good year before the war in Ukraine began. A number of economists, including at the San Francisco Fed, have said that the tremendous fiscal spending that went underway, the $6 trillion in 2 years, did add to that, including, as you can see right on there, the $2 trillion that the Biden administration pushed through in the spring of 2021. So when people look at that and they say, well, the White House told us that inflation would be transitory. The White House told us we could go through with this kind of spending and we'd be fine, even when Democrats within your own party were warning this would add to inflation. How do you win credibility here to the public and say this time we're not wrong?
Well, You just have to look around the world today to recognize that the two principal drivers of inflation are the pandemic and Putin. We're seeing this everywhere. It is a global phenomenon. As I mentioned, in the UK, inflation's hit 9%.
Right.
In
but
Europe,
the point
it's
is,
hit
those
over.
are the things you can't control. I'm talking about the things you can.
Absolutely.
So
and
how do you win that credibility back?
Well, if we look at the things that we can control, we win credibility by taking action. This president is acting.
First, today I'm calling on Congress to suspend the federal gas tax for the next 90 days.
Control. We win credibility by taking action. This president is acting.
President Obama called this a gimmick when he was asked about it during the campaign in 2008, this gas tax, freeze. Can you give us a reality check? What's actually going to happen here for the American consumer?
Well, Erica, President Obama called it a gimmick because, as almost any economist, Democrat and Republican, can tell you, it is a gimmick. It doesn't solve the underlying problem, which is driving up gas prices. To the extent it succeeds in lowering them a bit, it's likely to encourage people to drive more, which will create an offsetting boost in demand and push the price up and obviate that benefit.
And together, these actions could help drop the price at the pump by up to $1 a gallon or more. It doesn't reduce all the pain, but it would be a big help.
So we have a situation where there's money coming out of the Highway Trust Fund. It's going to the oil companies. They may not give it to the consumer, and it has to be paid for. So we're paying for something to give a break to the oil companies that isn't even going to the consumer. So that's the con. The pro is very showbiz. Okay, let's just do something, there it is. But it is not necessarily landing in the pocket of the consumer. It's taken out of the trust fund. We have to pay for that to return.
I am your voice.